Hello, friends. It has been a bit. I ended up taking a little bit of time off because we had a full week of sickness in our house and my family needed me, so that is where I was. But we are back and I'm excited to talk with you today about today's topic. It is definitely something that is a more sensitive topic, and I have definitely needed this reminder myself, even lately. And it is the reminder that God hears you. My heart is to communicate the content of this video in a very tender and soft way and acknowledge the pain that can come from a season where you are struggling to remember that God does hear you. But I also want to remind us that there is much to gain while we are in this place. So I want you to think of the thing in your life where you have been feeling like God may not hear you, the place where you have unresolved frustrations and have been praying over maybe for a long time. Maybe it is something to do with a family conflict or someone you love is struggling. Maybe it's a trial that you have been in for a very long time. Maybe you don't have just one thing. Maybe there are a few things that you are struggling with and waiting for. I can relate to you, friend. Maybe you started out this trial or waiting journey in a very positive light and hopeful light, and had great perspective and felt very patient with it, but now you are just really starting to struggle and not sure where to go from here. Maybe you feel like you have been talking to a wall when you pray, and where you were first hopeful in prayer, you are now exhausted and wondering if God even cares or hears you. Whatever it is that you are going through, when we are in this place, it is easy to find ourselves getting weary, and rightfully so, because trials can be so hard. When we do get weary, though, it can really affect us in a deep way. And this is what I'm wanting to get to today, and that I also, like I said, have needed to be reminded of. As God's children, we need to know that when we are tired and when we are weary, we can acknowledge this with God, and we should. I like to picture myself laying on his lap, doing nothing but just resting in him and being comforted by him, knowing that he is sad with me, with whatever I am going through. Even if he feels like he is silent, he is holding me. God does not need more from you. He wants you to receive from him. What he wants from you is your heart and your surrender, and he will give you what you need without you having to figure it out, because he is the one that has what you need. He wants you to know that you can be weary with him. He wants you to know that you do not need to muster up the strength and be this righteous warrior all the time. It is when we are weak that his strength alone can take over and is seen by others in our lives. 2 Corinthians 12:10 says that I delight in my weakness and in my hardships, for when I am weak, then I am strong in his strength. Something that is very important when we are here in this place is what we believe about where God is in the midst of our circumstance. I am not here to tell you how to handle your trial or how you should be when you are weary. That is your own personal journey between you and God. But I can tell you, while God's intent for us is not to experience pain, that when pain does come, he is able to use it sometimes to strengthen us in ways that are unexplainable when we allow him. I have experienced this countless ways in my own life. This is not to diminish the pain of a circumstance. This is merely saying that God is always trying to give you something in the midst. That is the beauty of who God is. He takes what the enemy meant for evil and he does turn it around for our good. There is absolutely a place to boldly approach God's throne with our requests. The Bible welcomes us to do this and to know that we have authority in Jesus. We are praying to a Father that loves to give gifts to his children, and he deeply cares about what we are seeking after, and it does break his heart, and it breaks his heart to see when we are in pain. I have been challenging myself with the question, do I want what I am seeking more than what he may have for me? And let me just say that this question only has come to my heart after being upset and wrestling. And then I just come to a place where I'm like, you know what, Lord, I don't know. I've done all of the things. I've prayed, I've waited, I'm waving my white flag. I surrender. And that is when this question has come to my mind. Maybe you are not there yet. Maybe you are still in the thick of the wrestling, and that place is really important. So I challenge you to not rush through that. But nonetheless, this question, do I want what I'm seeking more than what he may have for me? This doesn't mean that I'm giving up praying for what I want, or that what I want does not matter. Do not mishear me here. But it does mean that I need to have him on the throne of my heart's desires. God sees our motives and what we call our treasures, and he knows we will not be able to be sustained if we are constantly after what we are seeking before his rightful place is first in our heart. So my conclusion in this topic is nothing wildly profound that you've probably never heard before. It is not a how-to. I do not know the journey that you specifically are on in your life, but I do know this, that he hears you and he sees you. Your prayers are not bouncing off the wall. They are heard by heaven. It is okay to be weary. Do not stop praying, though. Do not give up hope. It is okay to be both. It is okay to be tired and weary and even upset and angry. But keep praying. He does hear you. I actually realized something recently that I kind of had to just be okay with, and it was that I feel like my joy has actually been affected during my own personal season of this, and instead of being alarmed by that, I have just kind of come to terms with it is okay if I just feel tired and low for a while with God. Like, he does not expect me to just pull together and suck it up and have this like false happiness. Joy can be present when there is pain. Joy does not mean that someone is always smiling and always laughing and that nothing is wrong. Like, you can have joy in your soul because you know that I'm okay. God is he is my hope, but my heart is weary. Like, those things can both exist at the same time. And it reminds me also of the way that David wrestled with God. In Psalm 88, David is crying out to God. I'm just going to read a couple of the verses here. Hear my prayer, listen to my cry, for I am full of trouble and death draws near. I am as good as dead, like a strong man with no strength left. I am forgotten. I live in the darkest depths. Your anger weighs me down. My eyes are blinded by tears. Each day I beg for your help. There's another verse that says something like, the darkness is my closest friend. Like, he is not okay. And these are just a few verses of this chapter. And what's really interesting about David's process is the next chapter is Psalm 89. And these are some verses from this passage. I will sing of the Lord's great love forever. With my mouth, I will make your faithfulness known. For who in the sky can compare with the Lord? Who is like our God? Blessed are those who have learned to acclaim you, who walk in the light of your presence. They rejoice in your name and celebrate your righteousness, for you are their glory and their strength. So I love those passages because they're right next to each other, and this could be a coincidence that the chapter of turmoil is 18 verses, but it's followed by a chapter of thankfulness and praise and remembering who God is, and that chapter is 52 verses. And again, that could be a coincidence, but honestly, I just don't think it is, because that's what God does. He wants us to be able to know that he's close, and we can be real with him and say we're weary and even question, God, where are you? I need you to show up, and allow that to stir us to pray. I know sometimes it feels like he is not listening. I know you are wondering why everyone else's prayers are answered and not yours, why you are stuck waiting, why it has to be this hard and this long, and why some things may seem completely effortless to others while you are toiling over here in prayer. Your frustration is valid. Your pain is real. He sees how hard it is Friend, keep praying. Do not give up. He hears you. He is there. Allow yourself permission to be weary. Allow yourself permission to be messy, but to not give up hope, and train your heart to understand that you can be tired and still trust in him, and that your weariness is heard by heaven and he's orchestrating something for you. Ask him to give you his desires. Ask him to help you wait well. The beautiful thing about waiting well is you feel like you are walking on a dark, blind path, but the best leader, remember, is holding your hand, and when you come out of it, there will be a clearing. And what may have felt like the lowest and weakest season of your life, you have gained strength, you have gained intimacy with God that only those who have gone to this place of surrender in the waiting will experience. You guys are incredible. I am believing this for you as I am for myself. I hope that encouraged you. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. And you guys, I am so open to ideas and suggestions and things that you guys might want to hear on, as I am also learning alongside of you guys. So I hope you guys are so blessed this week, and I will see you next time. Bye.